Welcome back to another episode on our Turbo Barra 80 Series LandCruiser. We've been driving around for about 6 months or so now, working out what does work, what doesn't work, some modifications and changes that we need to make, which we will be doing in this episode. Unfortunately, we are having some heat issues going on with the Barra, and upon diagnosing, investigating, it is looking like there might be some decent problems going on internally.
Put your finger in the bottom. Oily.
Now, you said a petrol shouldn't be that oily.
Nah, shouldn't be. That looks pretty sparkly too.
Does it?
Yeah. It's like glitter.
That's the little engine components coming out your breather.
Yeah, it's like beer. Have a look at it. Yep.
Proudly supported by Opus Campers, Ultimate 9, Superior Engineering, GME, and in part by. So before we get into the heating engine performance issues, the first thing that we did want to fix, which has been driving us nuts, is the gear stick surround area. So that was an absolute monstrosity after the engine conversion. We did get a couple of quotes on getting it professionally done. It was fairly expensive, so we decided to just have a crack doing it ourselves at home. First job, first issue that's going on to the 80 is this monstrosity here. Looks like trash, and we're sick of it. A mix of the Ford and 80 stuff that we bodged up and made work, but
yeah, it's
a mess.
It's not the prettiest.
So what's the plan?
This is a BA shifter, and we've got an FG shifter. Much nicer, right? But I'm gonna pull this out. We're gonna make a like wooden console surround, and then we're gonna wrap it in like leather and foam and make it look nice. Bit bop, chickadee fucking D. This thing's got a crack in it. It's all good, but so we had the FG shifter, we had the territory shifter. I just pulled this whole top section off with the circuit board and this, and put it onto the original one since they're the same, but this one's already modified to fit from the floor and from the back for clearance. So I figured we'll just use that, save heaps of time. So let's get it all back in, clipped on, cable on, so it'll actually change gears. It's fully mounted in, bolted in. I've tested it, it works. It sits a bit further back, but we're about to go to Bunnings, get some wood, tools, and we'll make a little situation. Probably not going to take 2 minutes. I'm not a carpenter, but we'll figure it out. Back from the shop, got some tools, got some wood, got some nails, all that stuff we need. So time to play arts and crafts in here, mate. I've got the rough sides in, they're just rough. I've got the screws in the factory mounting holes. I've got top bit, 2 side bits, and the back piece all traced out in cardboard. I've traced it onto the wood. Now I'm gonna cut these out. Rough shape. Left it, a bit, because I can always tidy it up, but I can't make it bigger again. So that's one.
The basic idea is you get cardboard to make the shapes, you then trace those onto wood so you have the shapes with the wood, and then slowly fine tune and trim them to sit together nicely around the gear stick area. Yeah mate, that's version 1. Berto's custom woodwork prototype coming together.
This is probably about as good as I can make it. I'm not a woodworker.
You've done a good job.
I've done an alright job. Imagine if I was like a carpenter, this would look nice as.
You're not.
No, I'm not. I think I did woodwork once at school, and then I was like, nah.
So what's the plan now, mate? You spend a couple of hours coming up with this contraption.
Couple of hours? 2 o'clock.
He's been here since 5:30.
Yesterday. I need to go to Spotlight. I need to get some foam so that I can stick it to it, and then I also need to get whatever vinyl / fabric you want to put, because you can make it like whatever you want. You can make a cheetah pattern if you want.
Ew, I'm not 50.
Hot pink fabric. Back from the shops, got some foam wadding, got some black leathery vinyl-y stuff, and we have a couple of USB switches. As you can see, I'm putting the 2 locker switches in here, and then our gear position sensors going over on this side. Got to drill a few holes before we can wrap it on. Oh, and I got contact adhesive, so I think this is going to stick it on. Alright, next step, I've just laid out some leather, right? I'm putting this on it. No, you don't. Mate, don't worry. That's what the phone's for. And then I'm figuring out how much I need so I can wrap every angle and I won't be short because I need to wrap this around and stuff. And then I'll cut it because we've got extra.
You seem like you know what you're doing. Here, I'll help.
Thank you. Take the scissors.
No, you do it. I don't want to be dead.
I could get a job at Spotlight. This is easy as shit. It's up against the front of the car. And then if we cut it here, and then that can just get a straight fold and then I do it.
This is it so far, guys. I've had no assistance whatsoever on this.
She did it all herself.
Basically a pro at everything I do.
Are you talking about me? Sounds like she's talking about me, doesn't it?
You weren't here this whole time.
No, I've been AFK. Away from keyboard.
Wow. She looks rough from the inside.
But the outside.
Oh, damn, girl.
Shit. You want to see the masterpiece? Gear position sensor, transmission temperature, USB-A, USB-C, locker and compressor, all wrapped up. It's not the prettiest thing, but it's our first go.
I'm impressed by our work, and mostly yours, but moment of truth to see if it fits.
Well, it fit before. I reckon that's 16 times better than what we had.
I'm actually impressed. Like, look how good that is.
For a first attempt, people are probably looking at this thinking,
What a load of shit.
that's probably terrible. But for a first attempt, it's good.
So that's the gear stick surround done. Is definitely looking a whole lot better than what it was before. Now jumping into the main issue that we are having with the Turbo Barra 80, and if you pick one word to describe that, that would be heat. And there's a few different issues going on within the area of heat. The first one is the auto. Just normal driving, it's pretty fine, but as soon as you're towing or stressing it on the beach, it's just getting a bit hotter than what we would like. Now, unfortunately, at the front of the vehicle, there is not enough room to fit an auto cooler, meaning we put one underneath the car. Where we found space, we couldn't fit a huge one. It was a pretty small one, so we just figured we'd see how it went. Then it didn't go too great. We tried running it through the radiator as well, but that didn't really help much. If anything, it seemed to make it even hotter. It had the radiator heating it up too. But we have a plan for that. So we got a bigger one off somewhere, eBay. This is like $500 something. This is a bigger cooler, a bigger CFM fan on it. And then we have a plan to mount this up the back of the vehicle where the spare tire went and make like a bit of a protection and stuff for it there. So we'll probably do that later in the episode, but that's the first heat issue sorted, which is the auto. The next heat issue is how much heat is coming out of this whole turbo dump pipe wastegate area. It is just getting incredibly hot after driving for a while. Like if you stand next to this car, you're getting so much heat come out of the bonnet. It's slightly melted and warped this lid here. And then there is an intercooler pipe down under the turbo there that we've exploded twice now from heat. The turbo and wastegate do have a beanie on them, which is helping a little bit, but we definitely need some more cooling there. So we did some investigating. There's heat ceramic coating and there's also heat wrapping that you can do on those components. The problem we found with heat wrapping, which we haven't had personal experience of this, but based on what a lot of people are telling me, is when you heat wrap this stuff on a four-wheel drive, then when you go to the beach, you go through mud, dirt, all that, it gets all caught up in the heat wrap and ends up going super gross and deteriorating your piping over time. And then you got the ceramic coating, which some people say it works, some people say it doesn't even really do much at all. Our thought was maybe getting it ceramic coated to protect the pipe and hopefully help with the heat a bit, and then adding heat wrap as well. But the other issue I've had going on is this dump pipe is leaking, and it's got pretty bad over the time to the point where the car is basically undrivable because it's obviously going in through the vents and the whole car is stinking of exhaust fumes. And that's obviously not good for your health. Sitting in a car that stinks of exhaust fumes, not a good idea. Plus it's running pretty shitty, especially when it's cold, because it's leaking so much gas and air out up the top here. Now that's a little bit annoying. I spoke to the guy who did it. I told him like probably 4 or 5 months ago, like October, November last year. He came and looked at it. He was like, yeah, it was my fault. He should have put a flex joint in the wastegate, which he didn't, so it just hasn't allowed enough movement. And he said, yep, my fault. I'm really busy at the moment. I'll fix it at the start of next year. So we're like, okay, fair enough. We'll wait till next year and fix it up. And then he's pretty much just spent the whole year avoiding us, not answering, hasn't returned a single phone call, hasn't answered a phone call, sent me like one vague message being like, oh, I'm really busy. I'll do it soon. I'm like, well, what does that mean? Like, I need some sort of timeline. So I don't know. I'm not going to say his name, but if you watch the previous episodes, you know who did it. I just sort of gave up in the end. It's a little bit frustrating that he can't fix it. And that sort of obviously slowed down getting that sorted, because we do not want to go ceramic coating, heat wrapping, all that when it has to get changed and modified anyway. So I've sort of just given up on him. Is what it is. Really annoys me when people do a job. I understand people make mistakes, but then they don't fix it. That's what really frustrates me, like fix the problem. But anyways, Todd is going to fix that. So we're going to pull that out. Todd's going to weld a flex joint in there, and hopefully just getting that flex joint in the wastegate will be enough to fix it, and he won't have to remake all the piping, because that will get expensive, time consuming, and really annoying. So I'll get that fixed, get ceramic coated, heat wrapped, see how we go with heat in all this area. I don't know. If you guys have any ideas, please let us know. We're not fully sure. We're probably going to try spacing up the bonnet a little bit as well, so you can sort of have the heat go out. You know, we could put like cut a hole in the bonnet here like you would for a top mount, but I don't really want to do that. But yeah, just trying to get that, reduce that heat or get that heat flowing out of there. And once we get that exhaust leak fixed up, we can hopefully start working towards that. So there is one more problem going on with heat, and this one's the actual proper major one. But before I chat about that, I'll jump to the footage of us fixing up this flex joint wastegate dump pipe situation here.
Boom.
It always works, it's never not working.
So I'm about to pull off the dump pipe off the Barra 80. We have an issue where it leaks at all the joins, which is because these expand at two different rates, because this one doesn't always have exhaust flow. So to battle that, we have a flexible bellow, which Todd's going to come and weld this on, but I need to pull this off so he can do it.
And he's going to weld it on in there.
Yeah, it's getting welded onto the wastegate side. So because this is only under full boost, this gets exhaust gases. Like, it'll get some up from the bottom, but not a lot of heat straight out of this. That one's always hot. They expand at two different rates, and metal expands. So without any flex joints in that or this, they move apart and create leaks. So you can see it's been leaking over in this section, which is the V-band just here.
It's pretty much just leaking from all the sections.
Yeah, because they all heat up and move at different times. You see that this nice stainless exhaust has gone blue? That's how hot it gets. It's got a blue tinge to it.
So is that all we need to get out for Todd? So we'll give him that.
Yeah.
We'll give him this, and he's going to weld that in there at home.
Hopefully just here somewhere.
So he's just going to MIG weld it with stainless rod, because he's not much of a TIG welder, or he doesn't have a TIG welder.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Either way, I know I'm not doing it. He's doing it. Anything that goes wrong, it's on him. So good work, Todd. Good luck to you. Appreciate you.
Special delivery returned from Todd 1x dump pipe with flex joint welded into the wastegate section. How's it looking?
Looks good. Looks like how it should have looked from the start.
So when you move that now, you got flex there.
Look at
So
that.
as that heats up separately to the main dump pipe, it
won't
shouldn't
leak.
cause like everything to start moving apart and leaking.
You see this? Yeah, it's black here.
Yeah.
It's been leaking there. That's exhaust gas leaking out of it. So hopefully that's fixed up. Bit of movement. Doesn't need much, just a little bit. Should be going. Let's get it in the car.
So shout out to Todd. That is that flex joint on. We're just going to run it for a while now to hopefully confirm that it has stopped leaking. Berto's taken it for put it all back together, checked it all, moved it around a bit so there's no leaks. Taken it for a test drive, seems all good, but I just want to run it in for a little while to make sure it is fully not leaking before I go spending money, say ceramic coating it, heat wrapping it, those different sorts of things. As I said, if you guys have any idea of how to deal with the heat better, space up the bonnet, those sorts of things, please let us know. And one more thing before I get on to the next point, that intercooler pipe hose that keeps exploding, that silicon one down the bottom of the turbo, we're probably going to weld an alloy or stainless one, I don't know what you do, onto the bottom of the turbo there to bring it further away from, because it's too close to the exhaust manifold. So I'll bring it further away and then we'll just do a join like further along that section. So that should stop that intercooler pipe that keeps exploding from the heat. But heat, onto the major issue that we are having with heat, and that is engine heat. Now under normal driving, normal circumstances, you know, driving on the highway, driving into town, like all those sorts of things, it's perfectly fine. It runs, depending on the day, anywhere, you know, low 90s through to 100-ish, which is pretty normal for a turbo petrol car. The issue we're finding is when you're towing or when you're like stressing it, loading it up, it just wants to climb way too fast. So if you're on the highway normally, it's fine. But if you get to the bottom of a hill and you're at, say, you know, low 90s, you get to the top of the hill and you've gone up like 20 degrees in the space of 30 seconds. And that's not even towing of a loaded car. Now, to me, that does not seem normal. We did change the thermostat, so I can't remember, we changed it to a lower temperature one just so it'd give us a bit more headroom, but it didn't really make too much of a difference. The fan turns on at 90 degrees, so the thermofan's computerized at this, it turns on at 90. But like going up, you know, doing 110 on the highway, you know, up around that 100, 110, the thermofan's probably not doing a huge amount then either. It's a Ford Territory thermofan with very high CFM, like they're meant to be a really good fan, so I don't know if the thermofan is the issue. But yeah, I was doing that on the highway. That trip out to Sundown National Park, when Demi towed out of Sundown National Park, like that was a cool morning, cloudy day. We were in low range, cruising along, like just up some slow inclines, and it kept getting into the 120s. The engine temp now just kept climbing and climbing. We have to pull over. Like the thing is, it drops really quick. It's not staying up there. As soon as you get, you know, over the hill on the highway or you stop and let it cool, it cools really quick. But it just doesn't make sense that it wants to climb up into the 120s so fast. We spoke to the tuner. He said like his opinion was 120-ish is okay for a Turbo Barra. You just don't want it sitting up there for ages and you want to make sure it drops on the other side. He said the computer will shut the engines down in the 130s. There's a heat safety mechanism in them. But I don't know. It just seems to climb really quick, really fast. And like it means you can't really safely tow with the car. Or like if you go on the beach and, you know, give it heaps. Like it's a Barra. You should be able to give them heaps and they shouldn't get hot. It doesn't really quite make sense. So I don't know if you guys have any ideas of what's going on. Like it's weird that it does it at high speeds, it does it at slow speeds. Now we'll jump to some footage of us investigating a couple of things going on with this engine, and we definitely looks like there's some issues going on with the engine. So whether or not that, good chance, that is contributing to the heating issue as well. So the next thing we found is we noticed, because the catch can, because you have to have it back into the airbox for engineering, and we noticed it was getting very oily in there, so you've undone it, and what have you found?
The air filter is all oily, and put your finger in the bottom, oily.
Now you said a petrol shouldn't be that oily.
Nah, shouldn't be.
So
that looks pretty sparkly too.
Does it?
Yeah. Have a look. It's like glitter.
So what's that mean? That's the little engine components coming out your breather.
Yeah, it's like bearing. Have a look at it. Yeah. Wait up.
Yeah, I see it. It is heaps of sparkly, hey.
And like you gotta think, there's nothing in these. Like they're all Teflon coated lines on the inside, so it's not like there's metal coming off lines or.
Yeah.
It's coming from in there.
We didn't even know till we started filming. We were just going to show how it's breathing heavy and a bit of oil, but we've just now discovered there's obviously something going on in that engine that's not happy.
I'd say, yeah, it's not even dirt because it's shining.
So is that big end bearings and that would be chewing out?
It's something chewing out, yeah. I don't know what exactly it is. This has a magnet on the back of it.
Ultimate 9. Look, he's got the Ultimate 9 shirt and the Ultimate 9 torch. Ultimate bloke.
Maybe I'll win that award one day.
One day, mate. Yeah, that sucks. Like, you know, this is obviously only a wrecker motor. We knew the day was coming where this thing was going to start hating life, but yeah, you know, it's obviously breathing heavy. We got metal coming out the breather. We got this major heat issue going on. So there's obviously things going down with this 80 where it's not super duper happy. Anyways, we'll keep fixing things and diagnosing and, you know, working towards whatever the hell we're doing with this thing. I don't even know what we're doing.
We're letting Demi daily drive it, and then we're racing it on night time in Mexico.
Yeah. Probably we're moving soon, so once we get all the move all sorted, set up, I'll probably start looking into getting a built motor done, and then we can just pull this out and put the built motor in. So that, you know, that might be at least 6 months away or something.
If it wasn't fast enough already, mate, we'll be at 650 or something.
There's big horsepower coming up.
Same filter.
You can see how much oil is on that one now. That thing's literally soaked. All right, fresh air filter in, and we'll pretend it's all good and keep going.
It is all good.
Yeah, it is.
What are you on about? Anyone want to buy a Barra 80 series? 20 grand.
That's perfect.
You make all your money back. Rightio, so after the airbox been full of oil, a few signs that this motor isn't the happiest. So I've got a compression tester. I'm about to rip out all the plugs, do a compression test. It's going to give us a rough idea on the overall health. We're not going to do like a leak down test or anything too crazy. We're just going to see if they're all even, if some are down. That'll probably give us an indication where the trouble lies.
How handy is this new light, mate? SP, under bonnet light.
Look at this, mate. You want to get some light on me?
Light you up.
On the car, mate. It's beautiful. I just pulled out the spark plugs. I'm about to get the compression tester ready, but before I do that, I need to unplug the fuel pump relays. I don't want any fuel getting injected into the cylinder because it'll affect the reading because it puts fuel in, washes all the oil off the bores. We don't want it. I've also just unplugged all the coils so they're not trying to spark and zap and do naughty things. Do you want to turn the key on for me? Yeah, we're good. We've got no fuel pumps.
So what do you got here, mate? This is a petrol compression tester. So it goes in where, how's it work? It goes in where the spark plugs go?
Yeah, correct. So I'll grab a spark plug. There's a couple of different adapters and I'll figure out which thread it is. I think it's potentially the one that's already on there. We put this in, we crank it over, you know, 4 cycles till it builds up like the most compression it's gonna, and that sort of tell you the condition of the rings, the condition of the head. If there's a blown head gasket, you'll have low between 2. If there's leaky valves or valve stuck open, you'll have none. There's lots of variables, but it sort of just gives you an indication of the health of the general cylinder, so rings, head and valves all in one. When you're in there, just hold the accelerator flat as well. It lets the most air through.
Alright, you good?
Yeah. Yep. Call that 195. Yep. So that one's 190. Yep. Yeah, that one's 190. Yep. It's like 187. Yep. That's 180. Yep. 195.
So highest were cylinder 1 and cylinder 6 were 195.
The lowest was 180.
Was 180 on cylinder 5.
So there's still not 10% difference between highest and lowest because that'll be 19.5.
Yeah. So they're all within 10% of each other.
We'll look up what the actual spec is, what they're meant to be, but that's a good, like, you know, overall, there's not one that's
way high or down or something.
Yeah.
So based on the oil and metal coming out of it, there's obviously something going on inside that engine where it is not the happiest. But based on the results of that compression test, it's all looking okay-ish. It's not at the point where it's about to explode tomorrow, hopefully anyway. But I'd say, you know, it's on a timeline. This motor isn't, you know, at the happiest in its life. It's wearing on. And as you said, this is a wrecker motor that we paid 900-ish for, second-hand. You don't really know what happened to it before. And then we put 460 horsepower through it. So we are about to move house and shed in the coming weeks. It looks like a property has all come through for us, hopefully anyway. We're just about to sign things off in the next few days. So I'm currently broke as making all this happen, and we've got a big couple of weeks moving. Once we get moved, sorted, set up in the new shed, and I save up some money again over the next few months, we'll definitely put in an order for a built motor, and then that'll be the final sort of major component of this car that hasn't really been upgraded and updated. But I'm sure it'll be right for the daily driving for a while. whether or not those internal issues within the motor are anything to do with the heating issue that we are having. I didn't talk about the head. Like, there doesn't seem to be anything wrong with the head in the fact that it's not losing, pushing, burning coolant. I don't know, the heat one's just a weird one. So I don't know, if you guys have any ideas or opinions, comment down below. We'll have a sort through them and see if any of them, you know, spark a little, whatever, bit of information for us. What we will do now though is give this car some good love, get some fresh coolant and oil through the system, give it all a good service, and then we got a couple more jobs to tick off. I'll actually grab the list here. So I just need to remove the reverse camera. I need to weld a 90 onto the turbo, ceramic coat and heat wrap dump pipe. The heater core is leaking in it, so that needs to be done at some point. Service, I said we'll just do. Mount rear auto cooler. We got some heavier rear springs for it. Replace body mounts. Got a passenger seat belt coming. Have to fix up the tyre mount to suit new rims and tyres because they don't quite match it. So there's a few bits and pieces going on, so I'll chuck in some of these jobs as we're going to after this service.
Time to give the 80 series some love. We've been running a thinner oil in this and the oil pressure's been a bit too low. So we've moved on to this Norlon. This is a premium minimal 2560, so it's heaps thicker. But this is also their, like, you know, street and track. It handles heat better. We're gonna bang it in.
See, that helps at all with our heating issues.
Yeah, so it's just gonna help overall. It was the world's biggest funnel, mate. Thanks to Tyler Thompson.
Yeah, mate, I bought that for 10 bucks. It was on special.
This is the first time we ever used it.
And then you said, I'm never going to use that thing. And then here we are.
She's independent. Too many people older than me, they're seeking attention. When they want me about the goofies, man, I should've listened. And the smell of the money, my strangest addiction.
Right, so I've got the new oil in, much better oil pressure. I've just given it a bit of a coolant flush, flushed it out. Now I'm gonna fill it back up with coolant and water, 50-50 mix. And hopefully that helps keep the temps down as well.
Yeah, so we know we got good oil, nice fresh coolant, and we'll see if that makes any difference on the temperature situation. At least we can slowly tick things off. Do you have any idea what you think the temperature problem would be? Like, is there anything that you lean towards of why it is getting hot?
I reckon it's got a leak in the head gasket.
You reckon?
I reckon.
Yeah, okay. But it's not losing coolant.
It's not, I don't reckon it's losing coolant. I reckon it's blowing just enough that some combustion gases are getting into the coolant and potentially superheating it. It's my bet, because these things don't normally get hot. Everything we've had on this, the new radiator, fresh coolant, fresh service, you know, it's got a front mount AC, so does every other car that we have, and they don't get this hot. Even our TDs don't get this hot. You know, it's actually the lightest car out of all of ours with the most power and a petrol motor, so it shouldn't get hot.
Yeah.
So I reckon it's got an underlying issue. And it could have had it the whole time, we just haven't known, but it's very minor. It's not uncommon, they're a very long head. So like, if it's hot on one side, cool on the other side, they can warp a bit, cause a bit of a leak. This is demineralised water as well. I'm just, you know, I collect it outside. So I just got to run the car now, get it all to temperature. I've got the heater open, we're going to get out all the air, get it to temperature, make sure it's full, and that'll be the service done.
Next thing we're doing is got this adapter kit for the lights, got it off eBay. What did you say it was? Ultraflex 4x4.
Yeah.
So what it does is I'll put a shot up. These bush doof headlights I have, when you're on low beam, it only lights the outer ones. And what this kit is meant to do is make all four light up when you're on low beam.
Who will we blame if it doesn't?
And if it doesn't work, we'll recommended this by, who was it?
Well, ex-Alex 80 series, bloody dickhead.
So, if it doesn't work, I want my $100 back.
Yeah,
that I
Alex,
spent.
you better transfer it.
Yeah, mate, I need it now. So, Bert's gonna read the instructions, get this installed, and then we'll see if we got all four working headlights. Should look a bit cooler and give us a bit more light on the road. Wiring's complete, mate. Big reveal. Did it work? They're all dead. Look at that. We got four working headlights now.
And then, do you know how much that's going to make? How much brighter it's going to be?
How much?
100% brighter. So I'm finished working on the 80 series for the afternoon. Tyler said, hey, I've got this new gadget that I want you to install in my GQ, so it's better for camping. It's a new power station. So this is an Ecoflow Delta 3 Plus. It's got AC power, USB power, so you can charge all your camera gear, phones, drones, what else? You can run a microwave. It's got an inverter built into it. you can back charge your battery. If your main battery goes flat, you can actually charge it off this. And it comes with this Ecoflow alternator generator. Pretty much a DC-DC, so that we can charge this on the fly while we're out in the tracks in the middle of nowhere. So I'm gonna get to installing this. I've got the alternator charger here, pretty much DC-DC. I put 2 rib nuts in here, bolted that up, that's fixed, it's not going anywhere. Won't rattle around, won't hit Tyler in the back of the head. And then it just plugs in, straight to battery power, and then plugs straight into the box. And that's as simple as the install is for that. And then this has charging power on the go. So I've got 2 ACs on to draw some power so I can make sure that that's charging, which it is when it's on. It tells you how long you've got left. We've got 12 hours, 30 minutes left, 99% battery. You can actually go in here and turn on all the different sockets from the front of the car. So if you've got something plugged in but you don't want it charging, you turn it off, or you can turn it on the go. So that's pretty cool. And then we go out, we can go into the actual alternator charge, and it's got its own app. So it's turned off, the car's turned off at the moment, so it doesn't tell you it's charging, but when it is charging, it tells you how much it is charging, what it's doing, where, and then it also has different settings. So you can set it to start charging at certain volts, or you can set it to reverse charge. So if you're flat, it will send power all the way back to the main battery, and then you'll be able to jump start the car. There you go. So bibbity bobbity chickity dobbity, mate. That's the end of the work for the day. That job's done. I don't think we're doing any more jobs on the 80 today. It's all going to be waiting for the new shed, hoist, painted floor, nice workshop. I'm excited. I'm waiting for you to talk, but you can't.
That's right.
I'm thinking, what else?